Something else I want to talk about is structure and how I operate better without structure personally. But I know a ton of people that operate much better with structure. If I tend to do better when I can just do the things I want to do when I want to do them and how I want to do them, as opposed to like, this is how you do it, very rigid. Okay, this is what's coming next, and step by step process flow. Like, I'll use a recipe as an example. If I get a recipe and it's 12 steps, I'm usually on step 7 before I'm on step 2.
Yep.
And it's not for any particular reason, but I already want to see what's like way down the road to know where I've got to go, and I can usually just kind of work my way through, and I don't need to read steps 1 through 6 to get to 7.
Yep.
So, how do you identify, like in your experiences, how do you identify who's a structured person versus who's a Dan?
You kind of look at the structures they already have in place. I mean, we can ask questions of that. Like my perception on is structure is very helpful. Like if you think of a vineyard, there's a reason they have trellises in a vineyard is to keep the grapes off the ground so the bunches can get as big as possible.
Hmm.
But nobody goes to a vineyard to look at the trellises. And so for me, I'm like, I don't care if it's hanging off a tree, like whatever, as long as it's doing the job that it needs to do. I don't really care at all about the structure, but it needs to exist in order for things to be productive. And after that point, it's not useful. I think so. I spent the first decade of my career working in a corporate environment, and there, a lot of the structure is simply structure for structure's sake. And it's not actually doing anything. It's just a series of boxes you check off.
Hmm.
And so you get like diminishing returns over time. That's my perception of it. How do you identify somebody that needs more structure as opposed to doesn't need more structure? Um, I don't know. I feel like it's just a conversation with them. Like I can almost always tell in the first 10 minutes of talking to somebody, like how their brain works.
Right.
And sometimes I get it wrong, of course, but
Yeah, and okay,
yeah.
so I
How
want
do
to
you
make
do it?
sure clearly in my question, structure is not process.
Mm,
I'm not meaning it in regards of like processes and systems within a company. Like those need to exist. I understand that I can work through those type, I can work through that type of
yeah.
requirements or accountability, whatever you want to call it. Like this is how things have to be done, and it is what it is, and I understand and the benefits of that. I'm thinking I so I'm not a planner and I'm not a recapper. I'm an in the moment type of person. And I think that's where structure kind of affects me because I think you're more of a pre and then in the moment and then or a plan in the moment and then a recap kind of guy. Um, what yeah, I don't know where I'm trying to what kind of question I'm asking. I guess I'm just identifying different types of personalities here. Um,
So, okay, but
what
I
do you
think
got on
about
that?
this. Yeah, no, I want to talk about this because like we were talking to Johnny the other day, and Johnny is like he's loose and like friendly and like not the type of guy that you would think has a planner that he's walking through and stuff like that. Like he's just kind of living in the moment. But also we were talking to him about like event planning or something, and he just said, planning an event isn't that different from planning an ambush. You have to anticipate where all of these things are going to happen, all of this kind of stuff. Johnny, for those of you that don't know him, his background is in SWAT. So for him, the structure is really about making sure that everybody is taken care of, everybody is safe, things go as planned because they need to operate within this specific window and they need to operate a certain way. And there are contingencies that you need to take into account. And so I think structure is very valuable when you specifically need to lay out the areas where you might fall down. But you and I typically, when we get like, we don't, we operate lean for a reason because it allows us to be more flexible and just kind of recover from punches as they come in.
Hmm.
And so I think if you have a large group, if you have a specific objective, if you have something that needs to be achieved, you need a plan for getting there. But if you are just really kind of feeling it out and navigating by where you find value, then that structure loses its value.
So does the rigidity of the plan affect the speed of reaching the milestone?
100%. Unless that milestone is a very requires many things to interact with one another
Hmm.
successfully.
Okay.
So as the
So it's a
system gets more complex, there needs to be more structure to handle it.
so it's more a function of how many inputs are required than it is anything else.
I think so. I mean, like you would never put together an agenda for inviting somebody over to your house to just hang out and watch a football game. That
Here's
would
what
be
I need
like,
to do.
yeah.
Follow
But
step one.
like, what if you had 30 people over to your house? You'd be like, okay, how many, bags of chips do I need to get? How much beer do I need? Who
Yep.
likes what? And it just requires a little bit more. And I think people, the type of people that operate very effectively in that setting do that as a result of the skill they've developed with the tools they need.
Hmm.
I am not skilled with those tools because I despise it when I have to use them. I don't know, man. Like I said, I grew up kind of hating that structure and then going through engineering school where the problems that you confront have to be structured because
Hmm.
if you don't show your work, you completely lose track of it and then you've done 4 hours worth of work and nothing of no value because you can't find where you went wrong. And then to a corporate environment where you literally had to be careful about how you use capitalization and how you named things because otherwise your work would get lost. You know, you wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to find it just because of the volume. And then I think so Form Logic, like when I came in there, it was a startup and it was like whiplash because I had no idea how to function without those very structured guardrails.
Yep.
And
And I'm the
then
complete opposite.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think
You
that's why I didn't go
excelled
into
at that.
accounting because I was
Yeah.
like, nope. And then I have to, I mean, I have an accounting degree, but I've never used it since the day I graduated. Couldn't even tell you the slightest thing there. Um, but I think maybe that's why. I just don't do well with that kind of structure, show your work mentality. I'm like, just get shit done. If it fails, okay, let's just figure out the next
Yeah.
step and keep moving forward. I don't know.
So
It's an interesting perspective on how different people work.
so do you want to hear an interesting story? Um
Only if it involves me. I'm tired of
yes.
your personal
Yes.
stories that only involve you because I want to be included one of these days.
Okay. You are okay. It involves animals.
Okay.
So in most species of migrating animals, 99% of the flock will go one specific place, but usually there's like one bird that just does whatever the heck he feels like. And he kind of like goes off and like, I don't know, he might end up in Turkmenistan as opposed to Hungary where everybody else is migrating to. But I feel like that's an evolutionary hardening thing because they actually saw it happen in a population of cranes. Suddenly, the area where all of the cranes migrated to became uninhabitable. And so they all had to follow the Maverick that had kind of gone his own direction, done his own thing, but he already had that plan of, okay, here's where we can go. And that's I don't think that's a conscious decision on the part of the cranes. I think
Right.
that's just disposition. But at the same time, it serves a really useful purpose. And I think that's kind of like you and I with AeroGrowth, we kind of identified within the manufacturing industry that like there's a significant need for network and there's an efficiency problem. There's not a capacity problem. And
Right.
so how do we solve that? Well, like by getting people to trust each other. And how do you do that? Well, by building a network, by talking to people, by just being humans as opposed to business robots.
Hmm.
And so I didn't even get that for a while. Like I think you got that long before I did, even though that's like how I want to operate. I didn't really fully appreciate that that's how we should operate.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that that's a function of the 15 years of experience in selling and the benefits that I've seen
Dan, I tried
from
to give you
specifically
something.
networking people.
Yeah, I tried to give you something and you're taking it away from yourself though. Come on, man. No.
What are you giving me?
I'm kidding. You said you wanted to be part of the story.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so I'm a Maverick. That's what I took. I'm
Yeah,
that I'm
exactly.
the bird that flies south when I should be flying north, or east instead of north.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the AeroGrowth podcast with Dan and Tony. We appreciate you all spending a part of your day with us. If you get value from this conversation, make sure to subscribe and share it with a friend or colleague. We'll see you in the next one.